It's me, the tree guy!
Hello and welcome to another video in my series about getting into competitive Riftbound play. I've been to a few Nexus nights so far with my Lee Sin deck, and while I know the rules decently, there's a few things that I realized I don't know that well, particularly when it comes to spell timings and priority on abilities, etc, etc. So for this week, in an effort to get to know the rules better, I think I'm going to try and take the judge exam. So far, I've downloaded the Riftbound Core Rules PDF, which is an 82-page document. I'm going to just give that a read over and hope that prepares me for the exam. I finished reading the Riftbound Core Rules PDF, and it took me about 3 hours to fully read it. Here's a short recap of the rules document. It starts off with some basic definitions of the different game objects, so the first 30 or so pages aren't really anything new if you've been playing the game for a bit. After that though, the document goes into some pretty in-depth rules like cleanups, which most people just resolve intuitively, but reading the actual rules on how things like cleanups are performed was a bit confusing at times. Towards the end of the document, there was a bit of a glossary type section that explicitly explained some of the more intuitive actions like swapping, doubling, and attaching. It also included some rules for the different card abilities that are coming out in Spiritforged, like equipment and repeat. Overall, I didn't learn too many new things, but I do feel like I solidified my understanding about how the stack and timings work. Before reading this document, I didn't realize that an attack trigger must resolve before any action can be played, since there's an ability on the chain. What this means for a card like Yasuo Remorseful is that if he's attacking, the opponent can use something like Discipline on their unit, but they can't use an action like Primal Strength. Another small rule that I learned is that if multiple cards are recycled at once, they must be randomized. So you can't actually stack the bottom of your deck with stacked deck. One thing that's very different between Magic and Riftbound is that the wording in Riftbound is meant to be more common sense, but it can also make things a bit unclear. There's a whole section on which things are and aren't considered targeting, which Magic deals with by simply asking if the card has the word target on it. Riftbound, on the other hand, has stuff like kill a unit, which means that the unit has been targeted, while move a unit means both a unit and the location the unit is moving to has been targeted. I know it looks much nicer to have move a unit instead of move a target unit to a target location, but the latter is much clearer. Another weird targeting example is ready your legend, which doesn't target since you can only have one legend, but ready a friendly legend does target since you can potentially have two friendly legends in a 2v2 game. Although I understood most of the document, there are still a few things that are a bit confusing to me. The first thing is focus. I'm not actually sure what it is and how it's different from priority, since it seemed the same to me. The second thing is layers. Layers are super confusing in Magic, and they're also really confusing here. I think layers mostly come up in niche edge cases, so this section isn't the most important part of the rules if you just want to play the game instead of being a top-level judge. I did also find one section that I think has a mistake. In the rules for Magma Chamber, it says each player provides one battlefield during deck building, but then later says they need to choose between three. This is in contrast with the section for Free-for-All, where it clearly says each player must provide 3 battlefields during deck building. To take the level 1 judge exam, all you need to do is sign in to your UVS Games account, and then from there, click the Riftbound logo in the top right corner next to your profile name. Select Profile and Settings, then click Account Management, scroll down and there will be a section that says Judge Program. If you click Begin the Exam, there will be a short multiple choice exam that you can take. So I took the test and I passed. I got 92% and the pass was 80%. The test was way easier than I expected, with most of the questions being related to either figuring out which order that a list of effects resolve in, or what the legal targets are for effects or triggers. Unsurprisingly, there were no questions about layers at all. Overall, it was probably worth it for me to read the whole document since I want to get into more competitive play. But I don't think it's for everyone, and if you do, there's probably a lot of parts that you could skip, such as all the definitions. I don't know if being qualified as a level 1 judge actually means anything in my overall Riftbound journey, but it's a nice thing to have, and I got much more familiar with the chain. That's it for this video. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like or a comment. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.